I just want to let everybody know that we are recording the November Senior Advisory Board meeting.
1 o'clock, I'm calling the meeting to order. Citizen comments, if anybody been notified that they have comments to make? No, I'm not either. All right, we'll move on to the agenda item C1. Consider approval of minutes for the October 10th, 2024 meeting and take appropriate action. Everybody had a chance to look over your minutes. You see any correction? Yes.
Yeah, I already read it.
Okay, were there any corrections?
I came here from not my house, and so I didn't have time to go back.
Okay, all right.
That's a copy if you want it.
Yeah, we have copies if you want. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Any corrections to the minute?
Motion to accept the minutes as written.
Can I have a second?
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes as read. All right, let's move on to C2. Discuss the branch connection time and take appropriate action. Hang on just a second. This agenda item is for the Senior Advisory Board to discuss the directive with the upcoming time capsule of the branch connection. The time capsule has an opening date of December 16th, 2024. Jackie?
So attached is the picture of the time capsule that we have out in the back. And the date on it is for December 16th, which is a Monday. 2024. So I have an idea. There's not really a plan behind this. Obviously, it's different if we're in our own building. But I think that since we had our holiday lunch coming up on November 20th, the capsule doesn't get open until the 16th. We also have the mixer growth program going on the 16th. So if we wanted an opportunity where we can involve more members of the branch connection, I think that we can get something out on Facebook. I think we can make an announcement during the holiday lunch. And then at the mixer, we can do some kind of stuff where the band starts. You know, the band's gonna start at 7. So at 7, instead of the band starting, we can, get some ceremonial items, nothing crazy. And I'll have the capsule over there and we can just have our board open it. I also think that at the same time, and I don't know how, I think it would be cool if we, being we the board, brought stuff, made another time capsule. And then I think the last one was 30 years or
25.
25 years. So we can get another plaque made. We can have senior advisory board. Again, this, it's just me thinking out loud. We open a new one. We also make it, or open the old one, we make a new one, put a date on it. I think we should do it on another Monday, so I can pull up my phone and figure out in 25 years when in December is another Monday. So that way we can, it will fall on a date. I'm assuming that they did it on Monday.
I think that December 16th, 1999 was the day that that opened the doors. That's one. I think that your idea is a great idea, but I think we should do it the day that we reopen
Post renovation.
our post renovation.
That's it, just a lot of.
Yeah.
That'll give us time to accumulate things and
I mean, I just think the mixer is so many non-members of branch connection that I think we need to do something there. Our members, there could be more of a member.
And I don't know the exacts on time capsule, but when I read to be open December 16th, what other opportunity program wise, because we can wait until December 20th, 18th is our holiday lunch, but
March.
that's 18th.
Do we get a reason curse on us or something if we don't do it on the 16th?
I just always thought that if the time capsule has a date on it, it's meant to be. Again, I could be wrong, but we can navigate the
Yeah. I'd rather do it at the holiday lunch if we could get by another couple of days. I mean, like I said, I just think the mixer is not really
It's not very inclusive of our members.
yeah.
That's fine. And assuming when they put this, they probably put the assumption that our building will be open, right? So
Yeah, right.
I do think we have an anomaly scenario. We can bend just a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Um,
Holiday lunch
Mhm.
on December 8th, is it
18th.
18th?
I don't know. November is 20.
December 18th. Open capsule. And then replant new capsule,
That are grand opening.
grand open.
Anybody else have any ideas that sound doable? I would just rather have as many of our members.
It's capsule.
Where's the cast?
It's on the patio next to the grill in the outside of the branch.
Well, outside. Should have never grilled, didn't know it was there.
All right, any other discussion on that item? All right, we're gonna go to C3 to.
Wait.
Sorry. Oh, we do, we have to vote on it? We do?
It says take appropriate action.
Oh, okay. Right, so how are we gonna work?
I make a motion that we open the time capsule on December 18th out of Christmas luncheon
And
Mhm.
and plan our own grand opening of the branch connection.
Motion's been made,
I second it.
Mary second. Motion's been made, and seconded, all those in favor? All those opposed? Let's move on to C3 to discuss the game night event and take appropriate action. This item agenda is to discuss the Branch Connection Game Night event. Moving forward, this agenda item will be listed to allow discussion for the new fiscal year game night event and discuss dates for when the game night event would evolve into a series or multiple social events versus the current one big event.
Okay, so we had a call, Jackie, Tammy, Jennifer, Kevin was on it as well, to discuss, next year. And I thought Jackie made actually a great suggestion to set a time schedule and next year to begin in March, of July and September. But set those dates as in they become a series. So let's say March is Spring Bash or Beach Bash or whatever it may be. But we pick a name and certainly will allow the board, or hopefully the board will, in selecting a name. And that name will have different themes within that name each year. But we'll kind of go with something that, let's say we know each March, we're gonna have this idea for a game night. And then each July, we'll have this idea for a game night. Each September, we'll have this idea, but within those series of themes, we will obviously, mix it up a little bit each year, so it's a little bit different. But, I actually like that idea. I think Tammy liked it, Rick liked it, as a thought going forward to give some consistency, to break it up throughout the year. And then in 26, we'd start in January. So, we have a little bit But yes, definitely, want your input on that. It might be a way for us to save some money on decorations. We might be able to use some of the decorations year after year. And, you know, the overall budget will be what it'll be, and then we'll end up splitting that somehow between the different, events throughout the year. So that's kind of just kind of an overview of what the thoughts are for, 25. Any feedback, any
I just
comments?
throw out there too, that the benefit that we discussed of having, you know, 3 different events that were lower scaled back, where we're not solicitations.
Correct.
We're assuming we're not selling any tickets. And we would reuse decorations from year to year, so have a beach party, you know, whether it's Margaritaville or Frankie and Annette or whatever, you know, we have beach decorations that can kind of carry over from year to year. There was one other thing. Oh, we're going to engage other members that maybe aren't into the casino.
Yeah, because we have different themes.
Will we have to gift cards and stuff? We do it 3 times a year.
So what we talked about was that we wouldn't do prizes per se, but if we wanted to do like a promo item, that we would probably wait until the 3rd event every year just to see how much money was left.
Right.
You know, and maybe we buy a promo item, but no prize solicitation. So we just had some general ideas around, you know, trying to a concept to present to y'all. And we also talked about maybe at next month's meeting, we have some theme ideas to get your brains going on what you might want to do for next year. For FY20. This for 25.
So let me ask you this. Is there any way to scale down the casino aspect of this without having to do a whole, you know, the whole casino setup? Is there any way to? Because I think some people like-
Cut out like all the big tables. Feel like
Well, it's just an idea. I mean, you know, we don't have to get into specifics, but I have people that do like to do that, you know. Maybe, you know, for each event, just maybe have a raffle basket, you know, just a prize that people could draw. You know, nothing elaborate.
we did talk about giving people the opportunity to dress up. Because Jackie felt like that was important.
Oh, yeah.
Like, to have some sort of theme that people can dress up for.
I think it's a great idea. Personally, I just think that,
On the casino party, could we eliminate the dancers and Elvis Presley and stuff like that? That saves about $4,000. What was this year?
That was a big hit. They didn't want to tell everybody else. In my opinion, for what I saw.
We talked about, say, not hiring actors and stuff would be a way for us to save and spread money across 3 events.
so basically, we're talking like 25,000, is that our budget for the entertainment or whatever?
Say it's 20.
So we have to divide that 3 ways. And as much on one as we might
Yeah,
on
That's
another
what
or
we talked about
something.
too. That's like one of the themes, and then we would kind of figure out how to spread the budget. Then we would talk about what can we afford in each one of those.
They did ask about promotional items. Kind of my suggestion was that I think that the first 2 events, you don't. And then the last one, depending on what's left, that would be, because if you do promotional items for the first one, like you said, expectation, and that's, you're dividing this up between 3 events.
I think just the ability for them to be able to come and we wouldn't be charging, is that correct?
It's fine, the trick though about the casino and even sizing it down, it's not an issue. The back end of it, you think about the way we've been doing it, purpose of them playing to raffle tickets. Raffle tickets convert to the prizes. The prizes came from soliciting. So you're back in that same cycle. It can be dialed down, but then there's no guarantee. Let's say we reduce our sponsorship from 50 vendors down to 20 vendors. And then out of the 20 vendors, we end up hitting a surplus of, let's say, total value of $10,000 worth, whether it's tangible or monetary. I just feel like we're dealing with the same reality. Yeah. Because if you play the casino, playing's fun. I'm not saying it's not fun, but you play with chips, right? You play with chips, and then what do you do at the end of the night with chips? Like, oh, everybody had a good time. That had a purpose behind it, and that's how it coincided with sponsorship and the solicit.
I noticed at the raffle, on the prizes this year, most of the prizes were won because I was working bingo. Bingo, we were giving away a lot of tickets, not just one, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7. About 4 of the raffle baskets went to people who were playing bingo. They were making a lot of money in the playing bingo. What more than they did gambling. But she was having fun. They were having fun. But we were giving away, we had to get another whole roll of tickets. We gave away one big roll and we had to get another. And that was just the first part of it. And the next group came in to work bingo. So we were giving away a lot of raffle tickets.
Well, so let's get down to the basics. Does everybody like that concept of the 3 events per year, the time wise, the timing or the spacing, and rather than having one big casino night?
But when I worked bingo the year before, we just did, one ticket.
So I'm gonna have to vote on that or anything. We do.
Well, I
Next year, right? I don't think we have to vote for.
I didn't like it when she was giving away
We just have to
45.
vote for next year.
Remember my birthday?
Yeah, I
We were
mean,
having fun.
but if,
We know we have the finish. The intention is to continue in the future years, but.
I mean, yeah, as long as we
Yeah,
get
see how it
at least this.
Yeah. I mean,
If it doesn't work, you can change it back.
So, yeah, we can do at least this year, so that way we know.
What we're doing.
Well, I think that the idea behind the whole thing is gonna be about 50-50 split, because we did take a vote and it was a 50-50 split. And I have a feeling that there may be some of us here today that are not in favor of it. And there are some of us today who are in favor. And I think that when we discussed and talked about 3 different events, we weren't necessarily thinking of having a casino night as one of those 3 events. Possibly, but not necessarily.
correct. Options.
I'll suggest that we put it on the list as a concept and then see how the budget works.
Sure. But I don't think that we can come up with a smaller game night because we've had such huge events in the past. I just don't see that a smaller game night is feasible.
Well,
As
that's
soon as they hear game night.
Yeah, they're gonna get the wrong conception.
Well,
So.
what if we call it poker bingo night? Poker bingo night.
The other thing is too, is if y'all, vote on what 3 months for this fiscal year. We don't have to nail down the specific day, because if you also remember on the surveys, when we asked about times, so now we have 3 to play with. We can make 1 or 2 of them a later event, but we can also make the event during the day. Because game night was never during the day, it was on Saturday. And if you remember on the surveys, those were 50-50 too on, would you prefer the event to be, in the evening or in the days like that? So now you have 3 events, which I think y'all can iron out later But if we just placeholder months, then we can chop those up.
And I think that we talked about last meeting about 4 months apart.
I know, I'm looking at this and that July to September is only months apart.
So we're talking March, July, and
On the rest.
So in our meeting with Jackie and the staff, we went through the calendar and we looked at all of the staff supported events versus what would be board supported events. And there will be events pretty much every
yeah,
So, yeah, so there, if we tried to spread them 4 months, then we're running into other,
that's it.
so that's like, we went through the whole calendar. And Jackie's suggestion seemed to be right on with, for next year. To do March, July, September.
September.
And then in the following years, maybe reset it to January, March, and either a July or September.
Okay.
So
I
Jack,
might
are
have to
these
take the two.
programs or events?
I'm sorry?
Are these gonna be programs or events?
So they're taking game night and they're making it into a series. They're spreading it from one bulk event in September. And they want to spread it to a series where it's 3 social events using the game night budget to spread out those events. Does that make sense?
So we get to accommodate 3 different groups of people rather than spending all the money on just one small group. That
Yeah.
would-
Could be like for, just like, since we said we discuss it again at the next meeting. Could we, because you walked us through a calendar, and it made perfect sense.
Yeah, no, because I can look at,
Put it on, if you say, we're gonna show everyone, like, here are the events in each month, these are staff sponsored, and these are the ones we're proposing for.
I can work there.
They would buy tickets to each one of these events.
No tickets.
Tickets.
No tip.
One of the advantages of being a member.
the count.
So to me, that would be a program. And you guys could then move forward in whatever the recommendation is from the board. If you guys make these individual events, per se, whether it's staff sponsored or board sponsored related, staffing, that kind of dives into the direction that the department has received from council of creating like a board or a task force to go over all of our events for the department. And so I think that would like move into that because they kind of want to reorg, they want to add more events to the department. So I could see that going into that. So as long as we keep it as a program, there's no charge, you're just membership based, or $5 for non-members, kind of what you guys do.
Yep.
And then do opportunity drawing, then I think this is a great idea. And you can definitely move forward. I'll just make
So
sure.
if it's I missed the criteria, what's the distinction, what makes it an event versus a program?
So if you make it an event, that then classifies it as a, so if you recall this last budget season, the council approved certain events. And game night was on that wheel. And so now that we're splitting it up, it's fine if we make them programs. So member related, member, non-member based fees. But if you make it an event, which is a ticketed event, you then have to do like council invites, mayor invites. That's now kind of classified into, it's small, it's a small gathering, but it's still a special event and not so much a program.
Will the funds still be available?
Oh, yeah.
We do it as a
Oh, yeah.
program?
Still,
Yeah.
And it's still minus the word event, game night series, because in our budget line item, just like Veterans Day is an event, that's how we tap those funds to. This is the specific thing that we do specifically for that.
Will we have enough budget for all that?
yes,
Can I go get my count?
sure, go ahead.
Like I visually see it, because when I was talking to him, that's what I was. It's a lot easier.
We've had success with the day program. We had our February, our Valentine's program It's always been a success, and it's a day program.
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl party is a day program. It's always been successful. So we can have successful events in the evening and in the daytime.
I mean, there's several facilities that have dances during the day.
Sure.
And the turnout is really good, so.
I
I
think McKinney-
don't know right off the top of my head, but I,
And you're talking about
Nothing, we don't have 50 to 65 contingent now, but like we had more events, right? We might draw more in,
Well,
but if they're today, then,
no, we're not saying,
Yeah.
we're not saying that would all be.
oh, I have been saying that if we have some at night too, you're you're more likely to draw in like my neighbors. that are,
Right.
You know, in their late 50s, early 60s.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But we've had a Margaritaville, that was a
Mhm.
nighttime program. That was like the first alcoholic beverage program we ever had at the Ranch Connection. And, that was a success.
Yeah, it was.
It was a real success.
Of course, we had our 20th anniversary. That was
Right.
yeah, that was really good. It was great.
But those are the programs that we're looking at to take the place for our game night. And instead of just having 180 people benefit from $25,000, we can have 3 different events for the same amount of people at each event can enjoy an evening. And we can satisfy.
Do this. It might be too, well, I don't know if the tape is pointing paint on. So this is where we're at, right? This is where we're at. So we're talking about for next fiscal year ends in September. And so for 2025, if we're gonna break it into 3, we do one in March, right? For this year, with the assumption that we'd still be here, we do the spring bash or whatever, either the week before or the week after spring break in March. Because during that week, the kids will have a camp. So their building might be soon consumed, it might not, but once we get a little bit closer, I can figure out the rec staff about which time frame we work better, right? So there's one. July, we know the city puts on Independence Day celebration, but there's something that we can coordinate a bit for July. September, just because we normally hold game night in September, it's the end of the fiscal year, we do something in September, right? So then we hit new fiscal year, and so we're still in 25, right? So imagine if you're looking back at this is 26, this is still 25. So if we already have the plan for 26, when the new fiscal year starts, we do something here, related to New Year's, we return a spring bash. At this time, 26. Feel like it's safe to assume we'll be back in our building. If you remember, in February, once we have our building, we put on a Valentine's show, which is not related to the game night budget. We also do Super Bowl lot, right? So now we got an event there, got an event there, got an event there. Fish and Fun right here, which we don't coordinate it, but we support and we help, and that's staff, TBC volunteers, the senior advisory board alike. So, right, so there's boom, boom, boom. Fish and Fun, May, June, July, we do another event, and now, since we did one here, we did one here, we did one here in 26. That takes us into 3, then we get into August, September, but then once we get to October, we know we have Craft Fair, Veterans Day, and then the city, thing. So it irons out kind of in 26, where we kind of hit a good run to where it almost seems like every month we have something social, but also knowing that we break game night into a 3-part series. Not saying that there's not gonna be work involved for me and my team, but if we break up one big bulk game night and we break them into 3 things, I think that's a lot more feasible. And we have that opportunity, like we discussed, when there's more social events for our members to attend.
Well, that's what and brings me to a question. Is this doable for you? How do you and Jennifer feel? Do you feel like it's?
Just from the ideas that I kind of heard y'all spitball around, I mean, some sort of entertainment, some sort of food, right? Decorations, those will roll over, especially if we keep like a spring bash.
Right.
But also understanding in relation to how we decorate for game night in the building, that's not gonna be a reality, right?
Right.
But, you know, and again, it's that, you know, sponsored by Senior Advisory Board, we also know that y'all will be involved, you know, just as it's regular game. So the other thing for us is Fish and Fun, while we support it, me and my team are not collaborating together. And also for us, getting away from it here in September, I feel like definitely helps my team get ready for the craft fair. So I feel like we kind of smooth out the workload instead of bottling. I could be completely wrong. But in theory,
Well, like I said, you know, let's try it and see. I mean, you can't unless you move forward.
and I think really when we do this year, assuming that that's, you know, the way we go March, July, September, that'll kind of give us a solid peak. So that way, when we transition at the end of 25 and 26, we'll be like, yeah, you know, yeah, or we might say, well, let's tailor it.
We can tweak it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we would
It's just a
vote on.
lot
today-
easier to look at. I'm sorry.
So my question is, what we are voting on today will be to have 3 events, March, July, and September for 2025. And then we'll go from there. We're not gonna set anything in stone. It'll just be for 2025, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any other discussion, any questions?
I have one question. I don't think I already asked it, but who will be soliciting vendors?
No.
Any
No.
of these?
No, no more.
We have enough money in the budget to
We've got plenty of, be very careful.
split it
Yes.
again.
And have they, I know they're gonna, will continue doing the game night thing, right?
No,
Oh, I thought there was gonna
no,
be
no, 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 no.
a downsized version.
Well, that's an option. That's
Oh.
not a guarantee.
But the other, so none of them have been decided. like
Correct.
It's gonna be Hawaiian night. or-
Correct. And we will, correct. And
That'll
we'll,
be something that'll happen is.
Yep.
Okay.
go on.
When we talked about,
It's a concept of multiple events versus one big event. I
Mhm.
mean, that's
But
really.
to address different demographic.
Correct. People, people who,
Because some people don't like to gamble.
I don't.
I can't.
Okay. There too, right there.
we had discussed on our little committee that if this voted through, if the board voted through the 3 that tried to bring either, well, the December meeting is gonna be short, so probably the January meeting, bring like a list of ideas, to kind of get your juices flowing for what the different events might look like.
Is there a way to maybe poll or you do an
Well, that's what we would
opinion
do in that January
to
meeting.
the, like, say, to the people,
Uh,
to the people who've already come? Like, you have a list of everybody who was here last time. You know that they know where it is. They're comfortable coming. They like it. So they're your top prospects for attendance. So you'd probably want to go to them first and say, we're making this change. What kinds of things would you like to do? You know, and then start there because that's your base for attendance.
So we took a survey. So
The
this,
survey.
yeah, so
Thank you.
so this isn't something we just dreamed up overnight. We started talking about this, somebody had 22,
23.
23, 22. So we did Survey Monkey and then we did hard survey. Questions were about what's your opinion on just game night by itself and then breaking it into a series. Then the second part of the survey was about the time of the event. Because we've always had game night Saturday from 5 to 9.
Mhm.
So the survey was, do you like weekend nighttime event? Would you like a weekday daytime event, a weekday nighttime event? And both of those surveys that or this one survey that we put out, but all the answers we got back were literally 50-50.
Okay, But did you ask them what other kinds of things would you enjoy? Like, we know that like game night, but like, would you like
I don't think we're supposed
Costume
to.
party.
Those are things that we have a history of knowledge of.
Okay.
So we know what are good programs and what are
the
not
ones that
necessarily good
are
programs.
successful?
So we have an idea, and as a board, I think we.
Yeah, I knew, so I'm just
So I
asking.
think as a board that we can come up with what we know works and use those. And then as we progress, if we have suggestions or ideas,
Mhm.
then we can use those as well.
Okay.
You ever had a masquerade party?
Well, it's funny because Jackie started talking about dressing up and Halloween, and then he said, but we're too busy in October. So, yeah.
Okay. You were gonna say something, Jackie, a minute ago.
I think there's like the genre, so when I think about these series, I think about Valentine's Day. And if, I'm not saying apples to apples, right? I think there could be some variations to left, right, whatever. But the concept of what our Valentine's Day show, it's during, especially during the daytime, right? So that's Valentine's Day, so extremely genre specific. I'm talking with Deborah and Tammy, the idea of the conversation of genre, with, you know, themes or genres per each whatever. And so this is where the conversation goes, well, if we constantly have them in March and whatever it's called, assuming it's related somehow to spring somehow, right? Then if that becomes a staple, just like how the game night in September became a staple, where it saves us a lot of headache is we don't have to reinvent the genre. It already exists. Because it's always gonna fall in spring, it's gonna be the spring batch, whatever. Like obviously Valentine's, which is in the series related, Valentine's, like, this one in July, right? July, Independence Day celebration type related. We did one in October, right? We probably wanna make sense, make it work with Halloween, but we did one in January, trying to make it make sense and be around New Year's, right? So one of the benefits of that is it saves us from, well, what are we gonna do this year? What are we gonna do this year? What's gonna do?
Even though we've got game night, then we gotta do a theme, and then we gotta, you know, every year is a different theme, and trying to think of something different, and decorations, and food, and et cetera. Yes,
But if you did a Halloween or New Year's, I think New Year's, I think you could associate masquerade. I think Halloween obviously could too. I don't think that there's anything that's meant to prevent that being talked out.
And the Recreation Center has Daddy Daughter Day every February. So it's known for being the first Saturday of February. And every year there's a masquerade ball. This 2025 would be a snowball. And so then we can just mix and match. We think of themes to mix and match decorations we already have. And so we have a lot of different Christmas snow lights, snowflake decorations from Christmas that we're going to use for the snowball. So buying supplies is minimal. So that way the team can then utilize those funds for entertainment or food, a specialty food item to come, cupcakes, cookies, different variable items. But it's always a daddy-daughter formal dance with different themes.
Yeah, I know food-related festivals do very well. So anytime you have like the gymnasium or something, and you just have 50 different kinds of food and you pay one price and you go get a little bit of each one. I absolutely love this. Because, Meals, not Meals on Wheels, but North Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, North Texas Food Bank does one every year.
okay.
And it's fantastic. You get Indian food, you know, every kind of odd cuisine you can think of. Those work well.
You have to come out to our multicultural event. And different types of foods like that out of the park.
Great. Do we ever do like a big outdoor festival, like a Grape Fest type thing?
Fishing fun was
Excuse me?
Well, so we also have Bloom and Bluegrass.
Yeah,
but for the branch connection, it was fishing fun. right?
I don't really call it. That's
Not really our outdoor event, right? But I think Parks is taking that over, right?
Those seem to do.
Event, yeah.
March, we could do Easter parade. People dig out.
Everybody have their bonnets, Easter bonnets.
There you go, bonnets. I mean, just when we were originally thinking of replacing game night, I mean, one of the concepts, like, I said, I don't wanna drag us too far because we're topical on time with, was, well, in each of those three, we incorporate some kind of games. It doesn't have to be gambling, you know, it could be yard games or, you know, to do on the beach.
Could do
like
darts.
volleyball.
Chair volleyball.
Yeah. Yeah, that we would, still a game night. but with a twist. Maybe.
How about those basketball things? You can rent those. People could throw basketball.
All right, is it any more discussion? I mean, obviously, we will have further discussion down the road, but today what we want to focus on is taking action on, setting March, July, and September of 2025 for our event, our event month.
I move that we approve having 3 events in March, July, and September of 2025 to replace the one single.
I'll second it, but do we need to vote?
Yep.
The motion has been made and seconded to for this item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you so much for your work on that. And Jackie. All right, now we will go on to C4, and that is review events and activities. I'm sure you've all, we're not gonna, again, not read every activity that we are presenting here. We've all had a chance to read them. If there are any corrections, you may bring that up now. Activities that we've had.
It's also an opportunity for me to talk about my friend.
Absolutely. If anyone would like to share what they have done activity-wise throughout the city.
I don't know anything about any more century birthdays coming up. Do you all know?
I would like to thank y'all for adding the future trip to the meeting.
So funny you say,
Say that.
so the November, December, we had to flip flop. The music hall one was only being sold through Ticketmaster, and they were capping the sales at 8 tickets per transaction. Usually we are able to submit our tax exempt form, get group discount, and I worked with her name is Penny from Music State Fair Park, that company down there. I went back and forth with her, Ticketmaster, and more or less Ticketmaster said that we can't purchase more than 8 tickets. So what she did is she showed me some things that they are offering down at State Fair Park in December. I think December 12th or 15th is when 12th is the trip date for December. The Toasties lunch is still on the same day, the 21st of November. So they're doing a trip down to State Park, Fair Park on December for, it's called Shucked. It's supposed to be a comedy. But with that, we were able to work out group deal, group pricing, good seating and all that. And so we did call the people that had enrolled in the Christmas hall one, to let them know if it changed. They had the first priorities to like to switch over. And then after that, if anybody switched out and didn't want it, then we utilized the waiting list to, but we kind of swapped those two.
And I think that Shucked is a Tony Award winning, I think it was a Tony last year. All right, anybody do anything fun? Of course, we had the Veterans Day event on Monday that all of us attended. I presented our annual overview to city council last night, what we've done for the past year. And, city council was very kind in their comments and, wished us luck on our renovation. Just hanging in there, hang in there. Anything else?
I'd like to ask a question about Toasties. So that means that it's open now for registration? Is that correct?
So when we did the call, we called both of the groups and let them know to switch.
But I don't think that this sign up for Toasties has started in December.
What happened?
So now that it's been flipped, I guess both of them are now open.
Because when we did the flip, it was already, because remember, November 1,
Yeah, so I understand shut is probably already filled
because that happened in October.
because that was the November event, which opened up the first week in November. First one of October. Okay,
So for the December, it opened up the first part of November, which is when it happened. So we called both groups to let them know the switch, and we carried them over if they wanted to go.
okay.
Because
And
Kevin
they're-
had called and switched the
I
reservation.
never got a call about Toasties.
Can when you check them about the
Did we have anyone on the waiting list too?
for
For toast.
for the Christmas one? Yes.
No, Beth said she spoke with you.
She spoke with me about the magical cirque.
She was supposed to tell you about both of them.
I didn't know about Toasties, but I'm gonna make sure I'm signed up for
Yeah,
both.
but I think I seen your name on there, but she was supposed to talk to you about both of them.
Anybody else? Because I'm part of the switch too.
We left voicemails for you.
I know, I've already
Oh.
talked to- already talked to- Thank you. Anything else on events, activities? All right, let's move on. To C5, receive an update from the following subcommittees and take appropriate action. From the Spotlight Memorial Century Veterans Event. This agenda item allows the board members to report, discuss, and exchange information regarding any updates from the Spotlight Memorial Century Veterans Event or renovation subcommittees. The Veterans Subcommittee will provide the board with a recap of our November 11th, 2024 Veterans Day event. The renovation subcommittee will also review the selection of ballroom chairs, and no reports from subcommittees are submitted at the time of this report.
Okay.
All right, veterans wrap up.
I think the veterans, everything I've heard, it was a total success. Thank you, Rick and Deborah and Debbie for your help. We could have used a few more people, but, I know some of us had other appointments and things to take care of. But, a lot of people were concerned about our speaker. But even some of the most liberal people I know came up to me and thought we did a fantastic job. And so he kept it strictly veterans appropriate and did a great job.
Who was it?
Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. We had a great attendance, 185 people. And, just nothing but hours were good. The corn was good. Everything went perfect. It was probably one of the best Veterans Day programs we've had in a long time. And, Jackie deserves a lot of credit. Jackie put it together. We had a good crew of people working together. Jack spearheaded it, did a great job.
Man, who represented the colors?
The junior ROTC, Navy junior ROTC from, Creek View High School.
Creekview?
We had, Tim Kettrickson, won the Charlie Bird Award. And, I never realized what accomplishments he's had in the state for our city. We all knew Brother Eddie and Brother Eddie's son, Tim. Well deserved.
All right, renovation.
The renovations, I think that we have new board members, and I think it's time for another visit. If we could put together a visit for senior advisory board,
December 12th.
December 12th, awesome. December 12th is a bad day, isn't it?
December 12th, we're gonna do it at 11 a.m.
Before the board meeting? Okay,
So on the board minutes, because December is different for the holidays, the agenda will look, if you remember the first time, on the agenda front, it'll kind of have kind of a time frame on where we're gonna be. So we'll start at 11 at the branch, finish there, come here, do our meeting, quick meeting, then lunch. So we should be able to have lunch by 12:30. But yeah, I confirmed that with everybody yesterday. The renovation is on time, schedule wise. Right now, they're working on phase one, but the bulk of the work right now is ballroom, kitchen, bathroom, plumbing and flooring is what they're on right now. They're talking about, I don't know when, but bringing up the network for two reasons. One is for the network to connect to the AC units, because they need to test some AC units to verify that they're working properly. And then our IT department is coming in and gonna turn the network on so they can reestablish the network, reestablish the connection from the network to the ACs, but also our security system as far as the camera. So those two parts are in play. And then on the back end, we're kind of putting some bows and ties on furniture. We have these two chairs. One of them is from Business Essential, which is this chair right here. Chair over there, close to Joyce and Ruth. That is the one that was previously selected from Uline. And so, where I have received an update from the following subcommittees and take appropriate action, that's where the take appropriate action is. We had to get apples to apples in comparison to chairs, mesh back, cushion seating. Some of the other retailers that we had, we typically purchased the same exact chairs from Uline, but we were able to find another company that had a similar offer. And so we wanted to be able to bring that to the board to get some decision on that.
okay. I see there's a lot of variables in chairs that I didn't realize there were in the past. Is there not a weight limit on this chair?
So that weight limit for this chair is 275 pounds. That one is 320.
So we have members who won't be able to sit in the chairs.
Depending on their weight.
Right.
275, 300.
We have members that won't be able to sit in them.
Is there a price difference between the two?
There is.
I-
Robert said there was a slight price difference, but
To me, that chair appears to be of much higher quality. Has levelers on the feet, it has lumbar support. The cushion is visibly 2 inches thicker than this cushion. And just the construction, to me, appears to be more solid. It looks like it. Yeah, the screw gets loose over there on the side here. It's like,
Well, if it doesn't last as long, it's more expensive.
Sure.
Yeah.
right, but this you can see like screws on the back of those legs there, like. It's got loose and fell out. You might-
the legs don't look as sturdy either.
So didn't we have an initial budget for chairs?
Did,
Was that not $80,000?
did,
Did we not decide on a chair that was within budget?
we did.
So why are we going backwards?
So when we presented it to council, the directive from council was that they couldn't justify us spending that amount of money for 250 chairs.
Who budgeted, who gave us a budget of $80,000?
I'm the one that put it in our FF&E for previous fiscal year, and it was approved at that time.
So we had an approved budget of 80,000. We found a chair that was under budget. And then we weren't able to get that chair.
The directive that we were given was that the price of the chair was too high, and they felt that we could find a different.
But if we have to replace the different option in 2 years, not fiscally responsible.
That's the directive we were given, so that's why we're bringing these as an option, that they are in a price range that the council will approve. But we also want to make sure
So that chair is still, you said that's the chair we previously did.
correct.
That's not our original.
That's not the original. So the meeting back in July, I think, in July, we showed the ones we originally had done, and then
Yeah.
the U line, and we had like a pleather looking one, and out of that one, we picked the U line, and then because we wanted to have, to be able to have an apples to apples, so we had to go find another chair that had a mesh back cushion seat. So that's how we're here.
How much is this chair?
I think those are like 20 or 30 something for 250.
So are they asking us to make a decision between the two?
The recommendation, so that way we can present it to council, recommendation for us to make the purchase.
Well, then I'm not voting today, but it seems like y'all should vote and send a recommendation to the council.
So have we seen any other chairs that accommodate a little bit higher weight, but are still less than 78,000?
I looked to see what heavy duty chairs as far as option wise can go, because chairs are endless. And so at some point, we've got to narrow things down and kind of make that call, because when we got those first set of chairs that we priced out, again, you start making them custom, heavier duty, different material, different colors, different styles. They're endless.
I'm sure.
Are these chairs lifetime guaranteed?
They are not, it's Uline. Uline is, which buys what you get when it comes time for it to go, then. They're also the same chair that we use at council
City
chambers,
Council, yeah.
correct.
Do they come assembled?
We are going to outsource that to these.
Okay, but what about the initial chairs that we initially selected? Are those
Okay.
lifetime guaranteed?
They were lifetime warranty and they came with.
Does the council know that? That those were lifetime guaranteed, came assembled? And they don't recognize the difference?
The directive we were given was that 250 chairs. They didn't agree on us spending that much money, and they wanted different options presented to them.
And I believe these chairs, what that came up with also is that if we had to replace all 250 of these chairs within 5 to 10 years, it would still be cheaper than the initial chairs. So the first round of 250 plus the second placement of 250 is still cheaper than what we had initially.
Yeah, have a lifetime warranty.
Well, I think that first round of chairs that were at 77,000, I believe was.
That was-
So these are like 30, 250 chairs. 2.5 times.
Yeah, those are nice chairs. All of a sudden, those are.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But do we have to vote on it, or are we just
I
saying?
just need y'all to take action on, would you prefer business essential chair or the Uline chair?
And we did take this Uline chair to council. However, council wanted y'all input on this chair, for you guys to test it out yourselves and for you guys to give Jackie y'all's recommendation on, yes, we put our stamp as a senior advisory board on this chair. Please proceed. He will then approach that to council and then they will then pass the item so we can purchase it.
But do we have to vote on it, or are we just saying, hey, we like this one better?
Take action.
Does anybody else need a minute to look at them, sit in them?
What's the difference in price?
Not much.
It's not much.
Couple
I think it's like 3 to 4.
Well,
I mean, no,
this one's kind of flimsy compared to this.
Yeah.
Clearly. Anyway.
It's much more.
This one's no difference. No comparison.
I make a motion to accept the Uline.
Aye.
all that's been made.
Wait, who seconded?
Motion's been made and seconded to, recommend the Uline chairs, for the branch connection. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right. Unanimous. All right, thank you. Now, let's move on to our last item. Oh, no, when do you have a? C6, discuss agenda items for future senior advisory board meetings.
So on the agenda item for December, you will see on the front of the page, again, it'll be a broken down time, but we will start at 11 a.m. at the branch connection.
That'll be an email that we get.
The email and the hard copy. That's there.
Thank you.
When I sent to you, my email at the beginning of the month. All right, this item was placed on the agenda so the board members could recommend topics that they would like discussed at future meetings. No topics were submitted at the time of this report. Does anybody else have anything to add right now that they'd like to see discussed at our December meeting? If not, we'll move on to C7, receive the senior advisory board and city council update calendar. And below is the calendar for 2024. This includes the meeting schedule for the year, council presentation dates, and the deadline for completing annual training. This will allow for excellent communication by all, foster forethought and planning, ensure that training is completed, and ensure that presentations are submitted to the director and the council in a timely manner. There are calendar dates for 2025 that are only for senior advisory board meetings, and future dates for the city council may change and are subject to adjustment.
Like Deborah said, Tuesday, the year review is presented to council. We have our standard meeting today. December, the standard meeting will start after the tour. The tour will start at 11, and will be followed by the holiday lunch. And then for January, for 2025, we have all the dates slated for the second Thursday of every month. And when we get the dates confirmed for the next year in review, I have to update that as I get that information. So that'll change as soon as I get that information.
And these dates we voted on last time.
Correct.
So these dates will be our meeting dates for next year. We voted on them.
And Deb, I did confirm that we can give small tokens of appreciation to the mayor and council outfit. And so it was suggested that, as you guys had the program during the year, if you save a couple of things, then at the end, when you do your presentation, we can put something together.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thanks for checking on that. I appreciate it.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made.
Second.
Deborah, seconded the motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those. All right. Thank you so much for coming and have a, gosh, Thanksgiving is what? 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks. And those who,